right, for those of you who haven't been in this week yet, we're working on what's called the kinetic chain. So kinetic chain is basically the system of muscle, bone, fascia, ligaments, everything that's holding everything together from the ground up, and how any imbalances from the ground up is going to create, potential issues up the chain, right? So depending on how we stand on our feet, like a lot of us tend to roll our feet in or out, or like stand with all our weight shifted to one side. And so, some of you have seen me do this before, but I'm going to show that, like, for example, if I let my foot drop in, this knee collapses in, the pelvis is tipped, and this knee has a lot of pressure in it because of the shifting of the weight over to this side. And then typically, we also have the shoulder girdle off kilter. The spine is going to be curved in such a way depending on, which way. So that's the kinetic chain. So everything's sort of affecting each other up the chain. And so if we're getting knee pain, if we're getting low back pain, neck pain, all of that could be related to how we're standing. So if we stand that way once in a while, no big deal. But if we notice we're doing something habitually, right? We always sit and, cross our legs one way or hold a bag on one shoulder. It just throws that kinetic chain off. So we're going to mostly focus on the foundation up, working a lot with the feet, the lower legs, creating, some good balance there, strengthening the arches and the ankles of the feet, because that's, the base of that foundation. And a lot of it's going to also benefit the knee health, the hip health, and the lower back. All right, so let's go ahead, come on your back, we'll get started. All right, so go ahead, begin however you're most comfortable, taking some time to come into awareness, present moment. So when it comes to changing things about our anatomy, a lot of that begins with our awareness. So if we're not taking time to observe, to be aware, we're probably not going to be likely to change anything. Becoming aware of your feet, your ankles, your knees, your spine, your shoulders, your neck. And maybe, scanning the body and checking in if you have any of these sort of imbalances. Maybe always have a little pain on the right side of the body in a particular area. Sometimes those kinds of aches and pains will make crisscross patterns. So maybe it's my right lower back and my left neck, because as the spine gets off kilter, it's creating different patterns up that kinetic chain. Now, if your feet are flat, let's go ahead and try to extend the legs out. And as you extend your legs out, feeling into the back of your pelvis. Just kind of noticing, does the lower back feel a little uncomfortable in this position? Is there a big arch there? Depending on how we're standing, the pelvic tilt is affected, and that can cause a little more tightness in our lower back or a tilted pelvis. So you may notice one side of the pelvis seems heavier into the ground than the other. So just observing that. And then without fixing anything, lift your head, take a peek at your legs. Take a peek at your feet. Do they flop out? Are they neutral? Do they flop in? Does one turn out more than the other? And then let your head come back down and just kind of keep that visual without fixing anything. So tendency, if our feet turn out a lot, our knees are going to turn out a lot, Or if we stand and we collapse our inner arches of our feet, that's going to affect our knees. So now let's go ahead, flex the feet. Point your toes toward the ceiling and bring your legs all the way together. That's it. And then take one more peek at your feet and see if they're even right to left, or if you press more forward through your pinky toe or your big toe, and try to even that out. So a lot of us need to pull back on the pinky edge of our foot to be more even through the feet. Okay, and press forward through the big toe mound. And then let's take the arms overhead into a full body stretch. Interlace your palms, flip your palms toward the wall behind you, and extend through your arms, your legs, your heels, and try to feel that evenness in your feet. Hold that for one more nice full breath. Good, and then release, and let's hug the right knee into the chest. And as you hug the right knee into the chest, let's go ahead and make some circles with the right foot, and make big, slow circles. And just kind of see what's the mobility in the ankle joint like. Because if we're stiff at the bottom of this kinetic chain, that can start to impact everything going up. Circle the other way. So we want some mobility, agility in the ankle joint to help you keep that kinetic chain moving fluidly up the line. Right. And then from here, go ahead and straighten the leg up toward the ceiling and flex the foot. Try to balance your foot from right to left. So try not to dip your foot over more to the right, to the left. Try to have your heel reaching up. And now draw some circles with your leg. As if you're drawing circles on the ceiling with your foot. And notice, anything that's kind of going up the chain, maybe into your hip joint. Maybe you can even notice stuff in your lower back. Reverse the circle. Maybe feel something through your spine. So just kind of tuning in, paying attention. And then bring that leg back to stillness. Interlace your hands behind the back of your thigh. And then keep that foot nice and flexed. Reach up through the heel, draw the toes down. And we're going to work today with a triangle visual for the foot. So the center of your heel is part of the triangle. The big toe mound and the little toe mound are the other parts of the triangle. So I'll talk today as we do different poses about the triangle of the foot. So just kind of picture that, hold that for one more breath. And then hug the knee back in and extend that leg out. Just take a moment, feel that one leg on the ground. What does that side feel like compared to the other after just doing a little bit of work? And then let's bring left knee into the chest, and we'll make those big, slow circles with the foot. So just left knee in, circling the ankle. Go the other direction. And try to go slowly and feel like you're moving through the arches of your feet. We have an inner and outer arch on the foot, and also a transverse arch that goes across. All right, and then extend that leg up straight. Interlace your hands behind the back of your thigh. Flex the foot. Spread the toes. Try to even that out. Oh, actually, relax your arms for a moment. We're going to do the circles first. So go ahead and draw circles as if you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with your foot, keeping the foot in that flex position. Try to move from your hip joint. So from the top of your leg is initiating that movement. So it's not just the foot, the whole leg. Reverse direction. Good, okay, now interlace hands behind the back of the thigh, reach up through the leg, flex the foot, and visualize that triangle of the foot. The center of your heel, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and can you have your foot like as if it's flat? So you can press it directly up toward the ceiling. Good, all right, go ahead, release, take a full body stretch. And then hug both of your knees in, rock on your lower back. All right, roll to your side, come on up into a seated position. And then grab your blanket. We're gonna roll it up into a log. And we're gonna place that underneath our knees and extend the legs out straight. Okay. If you happen to have two blankets, you could also sit on one. If you only have the one, just have the one under the knees. And then your hands are gonna come behind you for support. Be on the centers of your heels, pointing your toes up, and we're gonna work with the right leg. Press your right leg down into the blanket rolls. Press down, and then while you press, just lift the heel off the floor. So press the leg, lift the heel, and try not to rotate the foot out, in. Keep that neutral kneecap facing the ceiling. Press and lift, and then relax. Now alternate sides. Press the left leg, lift the heel, and then release and alternate. Press, lift. So we're strengthening here a lot of quadricep. But also, as you're doing this, I want you to build awareness that we're not rotating the legs. And also with the blanket here, we're using the muscle here rather than just like hyperextending the joint. So the blanket is keeping us from hyperextending. So we're building strength around the joint without hyperextending the joint. Let's do one more on each side. So important to build strength around the joints to protect this kinetic chain. But also the suppleness. We need the mobility as well as that suppleness. All right, go ahead and remove that blanket. And we're gonna come into bound angle position. Okay. Holding on to your inner feet, roll the inner feet open. So as you roll the inner feet open, it helps the knees open up a little bit more. And then lean forward any amount and take a few breaths. All right, now slowly come up, and this time bring your feet together. So when the feet are together, the knees are gonna lift higher. When I let the feet fall open, the knees open up. So now with the feet together, the knees are gonna be a little more lifted. See if you could come forward now for a little bit. Take a few breaths. So just a slightly different foot position. One more breath. All right, slowly start to come up. Keep the right leg where it is. Bend the left leg back like this. Now, if that's hard for you, Keep it out straight. If you can, bend that knee back. And it might be helpful if you sit up on a blanket if this is hard on your legs. All right, from here, we're going to turn to the right. Try to keep your left hip down, so don't let it lift up off the ground. We want to keep that hip weighted down. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Gently pull with your hands so we go a little bit more into the twist. Nice deep breaths. Just kind of feel that sensation all the way up that left leg into the left hip. Now, any amount, press the back leg more toward the floor, inner thigh toward the floor. Take one more breath. And then slowly release, back around to center, and switch legs. So now right leg's gonna fold back. Left leg's almost like that bound angle shape, foot toward inner thigh. Take your twist and then hold on to the knee if you can. Inhale, sit up tall. Try to keep the right hip down on the ground. We don't want to lift it up too much for this exercise. Turn into the twist. Be aware of sensations through this back leg, back hip, up through that kinetic chain. And then maybe a little bit of pressing that back leg a little bit more into the floor, if that feels okay for you. Holding it here, one more breath. And then come back around, back to the center. Bring your legs out in front of you. And then circle the feet again. And reverse. Okay, let's go ahead and come into all fours and we'll do our regular cat-cows. As we do our cat-cows, we're gonna also work with the feet, so not quite regular. So as you inhale, arch your back, tuck your toes under, and get a sense that your heels aren't flopping out or in. And then as you round, tops of the feet flat, round your spine, press the feet into the floor. Inhale, arch, tuck the toes, look up. Exhale, round, flatten the feet. All right, 3 more just like that. One more time. All right, brief child's pose after you finish that next one. Take a moment there. So kind of thinking about child's pose, how it feels for you. There's a lot through that kinetic chain that we're using here. So our ankle flexibility can limit us in this pose, our knee flexibility, our hip flexibility. Just kind of noticing what it feels like for you in this position. All right, go ahead, come back up in the tabletop. Feel free to use a little padding if you want. We're going to be here for a little bit. You're going to take right leg straight back, tuck the toes, and then look back. Make sure your foot's not rotating in or out. Your leg is neutral. Press back into the heel. Get a sense of being even through that heel. You're not rotating the foot. Hold for a breath. And then we're going to lift the leg up. Again, try to keep your toes pointing toward the floor, your knee pointing toward the floor. A lot of times we tend to turn that foot out and open the hip. You want to keep it pretty neutral. And then point, flex the foot. all of your awareness into trying to keep that foot from turning in or turning out. We're just pointing and flexing. Good. Now hold it in the flexed position. Tone the belly so we're not arching the low back here. So we want to use the back of the leg, the hamstring, the glute muscle to hold that leg up and now circle the foot. Reverse your circle. And then flex and release. Take it back, child's pose. By the way, any wrist issues you want, you can do this work on your back. You can use your fists. You can roll your mat up to cushion your wrists. So feel free to take any adaptations. When you're ready, let's come back up. Left foot back, tuck the toes under, be even on the foot, and then push back into the heel. Hold it here. Spread your fingers out. You might want to do your tiger paw, claw the floor. That'll help with your wrist pain. Or put something to elevate the heel of the hand. All right, lifting the leg. Try not to rotate the leg as you lift it. Keep the low belly lifting so we're not arching the back. And then point, flex the foot with a lot of awareness. Go slowly, working on that suppleness of the ankle joint, working foot arches, calf here. All right, hold it in the flexed position for a moment. Keep pushing hands into the floor and now circle the foot. Big, slow circles. And reverse. All right, release, take it back, child's pose. Great, so we're gonna go ahead and come up into our down dog. Just be there for a moment. Feel free to come right up to stand if you like. And then when you're ready, go ahead, walk it forward, folding over the legs, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms reach. And hands to the heart. Good, okay. Regular sun cells, half sun cells. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Okay, so we're going to be doing some balance work. We're going to incorporate the balls at some point. So if you know balance is a little bit of a struggle for you, feel free to be near a wall so you can put your hand on the wall. You can try it on your mat and see how you do. But we're going to start by crossing our right foot in front of our left foot. And then hands could be wherever it helps give you the most balance. Some people like hands to heart, maybe do hands to hips, or like It could be a tightrope balance and keep your arms out to the side. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you. And then from here, we're gonna hug the inner thighs in and lift both heels off the floor. So you might want that hand on the wall, okay? And then lower and lift. And then this helps strengthen all the muscles, the arches of the feet, the ankles, the lower legs. So on your own, let's do 2 more rounds. Good, and then we're gonna do 1 more and hold it. So see if you can hold it, pressing into the balls of the feet, hugging the inner thighs. Feel free to change your arm position. Try to focus. All right, release. Good. Uncross. Shake it out a little bit. And then let's try the other side. So cross the other foot in front. Just did that one. Cross the other foot in front. Okay. And then decide on your arm position and then lift and lower at your own pace. And try to focus your gaze to help your balance. 2 more and then a hold. All right, hold it up if you can. Hug the inner thighs. Remember, you can always take your arms out. This time, maybe if you're really good, take your arms overhead. Good, and release, and stand down. Very good. All right, give it a little shake. Separate your feet about generous hips distance, so you have a lot of stability. And then we're gonna inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace your palms, press the palms up. Side bend over to your right. Inhale, come up, side bend to your left. See if you can stay aware of the triangles of your feet. So do a couple more rounds. Be on the center of your heel, big toe mound, little toe mound. 1 more here. We're gonna change it up. Back to center, inhale, reach high. This time, twist to your right. Stay with those triangles of the feet, really pressing into the heels, the center of the heels. And now bring right hand on the right hip. Reach the left arm up and down, touch toward the outside of your right leg somewhere. And as you fold, keep that triangle of the foot on both feet. And come back up, reach that arm up, and then relax the arm down. Inhale, reach the arms, interlace your palms, press up, twist to the left, left hand to left hip, and then reach for the outside of your leg, keeping steady through those 2 triangles of the feet. Good, come back up. Back to center. All right, we're gonna grab the single tennis ball now. And again, you may need to be near the wall. You're gonna stand with the ball of the foot, right foot, on top of the tennis ball. Okay, so we're gonna be a little lopsided. And then again, hands might be heart, hips, or out to the side. We're gonna lift both heels and try to balance on that ball. And then lower the heels. Okay, so if you need to, you're holding onto a wall. A lot of awareness here. Lift and lower. One more. Okay, now try the heel on the ball. Might be a little easier. Yeah. Okay. So let your heel kind of drop into the ball and then lift up so your heel gets lighter on the ball, and then press down into the ball. Lift up and lower. One more. Lift up and lower. Good. And then release. Come up. Switch sides. Maybe we should do the heel first. That always goes easier. Let's do the heel first, and then we'll try that last part, okay? So however you want to have your hands, lift up, you're lighter on the ball, and then weight goes down. Maybe you squish the ball a little bit. Lift, lower. One more. Lift, good, lower. All right, and now ball of the foot up onto the ball. So one of the things with this whole, keeping our balance as we age, all these different things, is some of the key is like we're constantly needing to challenge ourselves in new ways, right? So like giving ourselves novelty. So this is like some novelty, right? We don't do this in our everyday living. So let's try the other side. Lift, lower. Lift, lower, and one more. Lift and lower. Good. Release. All right. Stand down. Set the single ball off to the side. So we're going to try some different foot strengthening exercises. So this next one, we're going to use our left heel to pin down our right big toe. Again, you might still need to be at the wall. And we're going to try and lift the other 4 toes up and then lower. Okay? So you're pressing down at your big toe. It doesn't have to be at the nail. You can even go up to the knuckle, like middle knuckle, and then try to lift and lower the other 4 toes. So really good to be able to work our feet independently with our toes. Sometimes with shoes, our toes get cramped and we lose that ability. But this all helps strengthen the different arches of the feet and gives us more stability going up that chain. Good. Okay, let's switch it out. Now pinning down your left big toe with your heel, and then lift and lower the other toes, trying to keep that big toe down best you can. Might lift a little bit, but try to keep it down. 3 more. Try to be on the triangle of that left foot. And even a little tone here in that outer hip, going up the chain. Last one. Good, and release. All right, so next one is gonna be like doing an inchworm. You're gonna take your toes and scrunch your toes and stretch. Scrunch your toes, stretch. And if you can, the extra challenge, try to move yourself closer to the top of your mat. So scrunch and release, scrunch and release, scrunch and release. Keep going a few more times, and this is strengthening a lot of that medial arch of the foot. Two more. Good, and then release. Okay, grab the double balls now. A lot of different little drills here today. This one you're going to want to be at the wall again if you needed it before. So we're going to stand with 1 foot on 2 balls. And again, it's going to be a lot of balancing act here. Okay, so see if you can stand. And everyone might need the wall for this one, so feel free. Okay, so you're gonna stand and see if you can get lighter on your other foot. And if you can, you lift and lower that foot. This hand could be out to the side. You could do hands at your heart. But I need the wall myself today, so feel free to use the wall. And a lot of proprioception happening here as the body has to figure out how to balance on that uneven surface. Good, and then release and switch sides. So first, get your weight onto the two balls. Try to stand up as tall as you can. And then other foot, you might just lift it off the floor or get light on the floor. If you're steady, you can lift and lower. Also kind of stretches out the arch of the foot on the ball. Good, and then release, and we'll come off the ball, set that off to the side. All right, back to the single ball. We're gonna put the single ball in between our two inner heels and squeeze the ball between your two inner heels, hands to your heart. All right, focus your attention and now see if you can lift your heels and lift the ball and lower. Okay, really focus, squeeze that ball, lift and lower. So on your own, a few more rounds. On this next one, if you can, add a hold. Good, and release. All right, go ahead, set the ball off to the side. Have your blocks at the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. Right knee down to the floor. Option, put your ball under your left foot, right at the ball of the foot. So you can skip it if you want, and if you're gonna skip it, you're gonna work on the triangle of your foot. Try to press your foot into the ball. It's gonna make those hips and legs work a little harder to find your balance. You can stay here, hands on the blocks, or come up. Really focus on drawing into the center, steadying yourself, maybe arms come up. Focus. Breathe. Good, and then release. Put a little weight forward, lunge a little deeper, press to the ball. You might get a nice stretch through the back of your calf and your Achilles area. All right, go ahead, come off the ball. You're using it. Find the triangle of your front foot. So center of your heel, big toe mound, little toe mound, and then lift the back knee. Move your blocks forward. Step that back foot in, move your blocks forward again. Find the triangle of that foot as you start to lift the back leg. So feel all the way up that kinetic chain as you balance your foot, knee over ankle, hip joint over knee over ankle. Try not to let your left hip pop out to the side. And then your lifted leg, toes point down. You might be able to look back at your toes. Try not to rotate that leg. And then lift it a little higher if you can. Really stacking everything up in that standing leg. Opposite arm might reach forward. Still working with the triangle of that standing leg. And then release, hand down, foot down. Feet hips distance, triangles of both feet, and fold forward. Good, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, side two, inhale. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Feel free to have something under that back knee. And then option to put the ball under the ball of your foot. So it just gives us that novelty, right? We do this all the time, and probably over time it becomes pretty easy to do a low lunge. But now with the ball, totally changes that situation. Remember, you could stay here, hands on the blocks. If you want to go further, you can come up. Find your balance, pressing that foot into the ball. And then notice everything up the chain's got to help you balance. So we're using those legs and hips here. Maybe the arms come up. Focus. And then hands down, should pat that back knee. And then we're gonna let the hips come a little forward, press down into the ball, trying to get a little more stretch through the back of that shin cap area. One side may be tighter than the other. Good, and then we'll come off of the ball, set that off to the side. Find the triangle of your front foot, lift the back knee. Shift forward. And then shift forward again. Really finding that triangle, press through the center of your heel and lift the back leg. Try to spread your toes, balance out the weight in the foot, and then back toes, try not to rotate. Lift that leg a little higher, try not to dip into your low back, so we gotta lift the belly muscles. Reach back through the top heel and down through the bottom heel. Inner thighs hug in and maybe that right arm reaching forward. Try to focus on the triangle of the standing foot and stacking up everything in the kinetic chain. And then release, hand down, foot down. Feel the triangles of both feet and then fold over your legs. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, come to stand facing the window side of the room. Step your feet apart wide. Turn your feet so that they're parallel to each other. And then sense the triangles of your feet here. So a lot of times we roll to the pinky edge of the foot and we lose the big toe mound. So press through your big toe mound. Press through the center of your heels. Inhale, reach your arms up. Take a little bend in your knees, fold forward, hands to the floor under your shoulders. Keeping that sensation of the triangles of the foot. Center of the heel, big toe mound, and almost stretch your pinky toe mound away from the big toe mound. Can you widen the ball mount of your foot by stretching your pinky side of your foot to the side? Hold that option to fold over your legs, keeping the inner arch of your foot lifted. Try not to collapse it. And now imagine you could grow your pinky toe longer toward the side of your mat. Reach to the pinky toe side of your foot, really working the triangle of your foot. One more breath. And walk your hands under your shoulders, lifting up through your chest, and then heel toe your feet back in. Bend the knees, hands to the hips. Come all the way up, and then back to the top of your mat. So sometimes just these little cues can make the pose completely different, like working the feet the way we did, right? Okay, so now coming into tree pose, find the triangle of your right foot. Bring your left heel above your ankle, starting kickstand. Remember, hands can go here, here, or if you need to, out here. Really sense the triangle of your standing foot. Spread out through your toes, as if you could widen your foot. Press through the center of your heel and find that sense of all the way up the kinetic chain. That leg is stacked up. Knee over ankle, hip not out to the side, so the hip is over the knee. And if you're steady, bringing that foot up. Maybe arms come up. And keep working that attention to the triangle of the standing foot. One more breath. And then release. Right, other side. Triangle of the left foot. Bring the heel above the ankle and try to widen the sole of your foot, widen the toes. Hands can be wherever it gives you the most balance. And then thinking about that kinetic chain, ankle to knee to hip joint, everything kind of stacked up rather than out to the side. If you're steady, maybe that foot comes up. Maybe the arms come up. Feel the triangle of the foot. It's going to want to wobble in and out, so keep working on it. Push that foot down, center of the heel down. And release. Right, take a breath. Widen the feet a little bit. Inhale, reach the arms up. Bend the knees, fold. If you can, hold your big toe with your first two fingers, peace fingers. You're lifting the big toe, and then the other toe spreading, widening. Press through the big toe mound, center of the heel. Take a few breaths here. So working with those triangles, even as you fold here. All right, release, bend the knees, inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay. Inhale, reach, step the feet back in. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, step back, down dog. Knees down, child's pose. A breath or two there. All right, we're gonna come on to our backs next. Grab a block. Actually, 2 blocks. We're gonna put one between our feet, and you're gonna go on the tall, narrow way between the feet, and then another block between the knees. All right, now find the triangles of the feet. The inner heel may not touch the block, but the big toe mound side can touch the block. We're gonna lift all the toes up and squeeze into both blocks. So mostly with the big toe and the knees, and then scoot your tailbone a little forward so your lower back feels elongated. Now we're gonna keep those toes lifting, squeezing of the block, press down into the center of your heels, and then flatten your low back into the floor and lift your hips up into bridge. Walk your shoulders under, lift your chest, and then squeeze the blocks. Roll your shoulders under, maybe clasp your hands, and lift up, pressing into the triangles of your feet. Squeeze the block, lengthen tailbone, one more breath. And then come all the way down, release, take a pause. Now, for any reason you felt like that was all too narrow, feel free to turn your block between your legs to the wider setting. So it kind of depends on the setting of your hip bones here, if that would feel better. So I just want you to try it first the other way. And then, at the feet too, if you feel like you need to go wider, go wider. All right, so a lot of times in bridge pose, we come up and we roll to the pinky edges of our feet, and then we're not evenly using our quadriceps or our hamstrings or our glute muscles. So by using the blocks, we're helping keep more integrity through the kinetic chain. All right, so lift your toes up, hug your blocks, flatten your low back, and then curl up through the hips. Walk your shoulders under. You can clasp or not, up to you. And then lift your hips higher by pressing into the triangles of your feet. Press down, lift up. Press down, lift up, lift from your tailbone so you're not crunching the low back. And then come down. All right, take the blocks out of the way. We've got one more round. This time, try to recreate that integrity without the blocks there. So find the triangles of your feet. We're trying not to collapse the arch on the big toe side of the foot. We're keeping the center of the knee lined up with the center of the hip. Flatten your low back. Lift up. Feel those triangles of your feet as you lift. Walk your shoulders under. Clasp your hands if you like. And then press into the triangles of your feet to lift. Try not to splay the knees. Try not to lose the arch of your inner foot. One more breath, lift a little higher. And then release down. All right, take the feet as wide apart as the mat and windshield wiper knees right to left. So we all have, different ways that we use the body that can create compensation patterns. We often roll to the outer edges of the feet to, reduce the workload of that pose. And then we don't use the body in a more like efficient manner. So it's harder sometimes when we train ourselves to not do those compensation patterns, but we're going to get stronger, more evenly, create more musculoskeletal balance. Back to center, hug your knees to your chest. Make some circles on your lower back. Feel free to move into happy baby if you like. Okay, and we'll find Shavasana when you are ready. Letting your body relax now. You might tune in to this kinetic chain area of the body again one more time. Feeling into your feet, your ankles, your knees, your thighs, the lower back. And if you notice things were a little kind of uneven when you first observed your body, can you sense if there are any changes? If your lower back bothers you, feel free to stick your blocks or a rolled blanket under your knees so that you can relax your lower back. Taking nice, slow, deep breaths, letting go of all the work now. Today's reading is from Katie Kamara. She says, discomfort is not evidence you are off track. It is often evidence you are in process. To assume that distress means something is wrong with your path is to misread how growth actually works. Not every contraction is failure. Not every difficult phase is misalignment. Life does not move in a straight line of expansion. It moves in cycles. Periods of tension, pressure, and uncertainty are not interruptions. They are part of the mechanism that produces change. Growth requires contrast. If everything felt open, easy, and expansive at all times, there would be no force to create movement. Contraction creates pressure. Pressure creates direction. Like a body in labor, there's tightening, intensity, and discomfort followed by release and expansion. Without that sequence, nothing progresses, and what feels like resistance is often our system reorganizing. The mistake is in the interpretation. When discomfort is labeled as failure, we try to escape it prematurely. We avoid, suppress, or redirect instead of engaging with what is happening. And this delays the process. Not because discomfort needs to be prolonged, but because it carries information. It signals where adjustment, release, or growth is required. Ignoring it removes the feedback necessary for change. So the shift is not to seek constant ease. It is to develop the ability to remain engaged through both contraction and expansion. To recognize that pressure does not automatically mean something is wrong. It may mean something is forming. You do not control the entire process, but you can control how you respond to it. And that response determines whether the experience becomes stagnation or transformation. All right, let's take a moment. I'm going to start to come back now. Bringing in those small movements, deeper breaths. Eventually move as you like before coming onto your side. Have a brief pause. Eventually finding a seated position. Bring palms together in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, exhale, bow inward. Namaste. All right, good work. So just a reminder, I won't be here next week. I'll be away. So we'll be back. I have class Monday for those of you who are Monday, and Tuesday as well at the church. Wednesday we have our series, and then I'll be off until the following Wednesday. So no class through next Tuesday. So this is coming Monday and Tuesday, yes, and then so it'll be in the newsletter just in case you need those dates. If you don't get it, let me know and I can send it to you. All right. All right, thanks guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining online.
Thanks, Kelly. I mean, thanks, Deanna.
Bye, Pam.
Bye-bye.